That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to MOTN Top 10, where we make those hard cuts in regards to some of the Nerdiverse's most cinematic questions, quandaries, and conundrums, as it were. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G, and I'm welcoming back to our little show, I would say five-time world champion.
Five-time world champion.
Five-time, Brian.
Washington, I guess, right?
If you want to use your government, bro.
Right? Is that it? I mean, I guess they're going to come after me one way or the other.
Hey, man.
So.
Have you ever drunk a soda? You got your DNA, bro.
Oh, for the love, don't say
You ever
that,
give blood? You got
Dude,
your DNA, bro.
No, actually, you know what?
Really?
And to be perfectly honest with you, the $24.99 DNA kits, ladies and gentlemen, please stop.
It's a fraud, bro.
Please don't do that, because you were giving out all types of privacy-like information that you don't even know. Trust me, it's all about sales and marketing, unfortunately. So
Don't do it.
Please stop giving away your DNA for $24.99. And you can go look online, and there are lawyers who agree. So it's not just, top 10 hard cut podcast.
I'm gonna save you like $700 or whatever dollars. Look in the mirror. Are you white? Then you're white. Look in the mirror. Are you black? Then you're black. I just saved you $700. You can thank MOTN. You can actually name one of your children after our show. We would greatly appreciate it.
I gotta tell you, we're in the depths of September, and that is one of the funniest things I've heard all year.
That's a quick pro tip from Mike G,
wow,
man.
There you go, Mike G. Mike G's got it all. So what are we hard cutting today, Mike G?
The hard cuts. It is, if you're listening to this is going to be the month of October. And around these Nerdiverse parts, October equals the spooks.
Spooky,
It's the spooky stuff,
Spooky.
The ghosts and goblins.
I love trick-or-treating. How about you?
I am a trick-or-treater. I would do it now if it was socially acceptable, dog.
I mean, it is socially acceptable in some communities for adults to go trick-or-treating.
Not by themselves. That's weird. It's just me out there. I don't have no
generally,
kids.
if you're an adult going trick-or-treating, you get together with the friends who have kids and you go out.
There's no friends, dog. It's just me. I'm standing out front looking like Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker costume.
Well, you know what?
Well, that's what I'm looking like. And
That's gonna turn into a horror flick.
That's a hard
quick,
cut right
bro.
there.
It's a hard cut.
Get this large man out my yard, dog. But it being Halloween and we being in the mood to spooks you, we're going to go over our top 10 horror deaths of all time.
Horror deaths of all time. That
Spooky stuff, man.
Not something that you normally see. You normally see top 10 horror movies of all time.
Yep.
Like actual deaths.
The
how
death
people
scene.
died or the scene itself.
Yep.
I know Mike G is going to be bringing the strange, so we're not going to quantify it anymore.
It's funny. I thought about this list for good and long because you have to with list this deep in. There's so many options, so many millions of screams for the kiddies and millions of exploding heads and dismemberments. But you have to think about the ones that stuck with you, the ones that gave you nightmares, the ones that really bothered you, are the ones that were just super cool.
Putting together this list, I would have to say that each one of these scenes I can think of them now and they're just, it's like I just saw that. So, I suppose that's what a horror movie is supposed to do, is disturb you on a level to which it just stays with you.
It just stays with you long after the movie says cut.
I might have forgotten to put together some honorable mentions.
That's okay. I have plenty here.
Excellent.
So if any come to mind, those will be your honorable mentions.
Absolutely.
I'll give you time to think about it. But that's how this works, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go over our 10. It's going to be Brian's 10, then my 10, all the way down to numero uno. And then we're going to shoot out about 3 or 4 honorable mentions because we love this stuff so much that we keep it stockpiled in large amounts in the right center of our brains, I would say.
Right center?
The right center.
All right.
It's a little off.
It's a
It's
little
like when you bowl,
off.
it has to be a little off center.
The second arrow from the right.
Exactly.
I understand.
Second star from the right, never ever land.
Star, right.
Pro tip, Peter Pan is a demon, dog.
That's terrifying. I'd like to see a horror scene.
He's actually a demon.
Actually, you know what?
He's a demon that takes the souls of passing children, dog.
We're gonna let this go.
We're gonna let that rock and go into our top 10. We're gonna let that rock and go into our top 10. So,
let me ask you: do you find it hard to like the horrors of reality being mixed in with the horrors of film and cinema? I'm gonna get deep here for a quick second. Do you find it a hard line to blur every once in a while?
I really love it. I love that you brought that up because it is a horror staple, and it is something that is talked about by people who analyze this stuff and dissect it. That all horror stems from some form of social anxiety. Throughout the ages, when horror movies were first created, what was it? It was tales from the old country. People coming from their lands to the United States, warning you of the Babadook, or werewolves or vampires. The zombies of the Caribbean.
Yeah, absolutely.
2, you fast forward, where do slashers come from? What was going on at that time? You had Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and Zodiac Killer floating around. Anybody can kill you at any time.
Yes.
So slashers were born, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, all horror comes from some weird social anxiety. So real life is in every single film that we're going to talk about on some level, because it has to be inspired by dread or pain or sadness or nervousness.
I imagine that's why it sticks with you.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, these individual scenes.
It triggers an animal part of your brain that can't help but be scared. We're simple creatures, man. It doesn't take much to scare us.
Mike G dropping knowledge.
BAMPs. BAMPHFZ. Hard cuts. Hashtag it. Number 10. Brian.
My number 10. Family cult classic. 1984. Nightmare on Elm Street. Johnny later screaming, then blood just
gushing
out of the ceiling.
I can tell you that was one of my honorable mentions.
It is an honorable mention for you. It made my top 10, not because Johnny Depp, but because when you saw that scene, you were like, what the F is this, bro?
Yeah. You never seen anything like it before.
And that's going to be a reoccurring theme for me throughout this list, is each one of these scenes, for the most part, I was kind of like, whoa, you got my attention.
Yeah.
Right off the back. So.
Wes Craven, dog. What's funny about how they filmed that scene is that they had the whole room was built on a gyro. It was built on a swing. So whenever they yelled, action, they just spun the gyro and like a pool of water was under the bed. So when they filmed it backwards, it looked like it was shooting up, but it was actually pouring down.
Oh, fantastic.
But the problem is that the water got everywhere. It leaked out of the enclosure. It fried electrical equipment. One guy almost died because he was too close to the water. Wes Craven was like, did we get it? Are you okay? Print. It's perfect. That's how they filmed that.
That's crazy.
A lot of stuff that was in that original Nightmare on Elm Street was cutting edge, breaking. You guys had to be insane to want to do that.
1984.
Beautiful ass year, man.
Absolutely. Hard cut number 10, Mike G.
Hard cut number 10.
Dropping the knowledge.
Today, bro. Like, my hard cut number 10 is a fairly newer movie, but after seeing it gave me nightmares for like a couple of weeks because it was really it was the most anxiety filled moment I could think of. And it came at such a perfect time. Unfortunately, I don't have these, committed to date. Just let this go. They get a lot of people right here, huh?
Don't drink and drive coming off this road, man. I'm telling you.
Rough.
Ralph.
Okay, let's give him a second. I'm going to do a quiet 5 and then I'm just going to say what my 10 is and just edit this out. Did I park? Yeah, I parked. My parking's fine. I'm not in red.
No, you're fine.
I'm fine. All right, I think he's done. So do a quiet 5 and I'm going to say my 10.
He's over there.
Yeah. So my top 10 is Wreck. Wreck, the final scene. Have you ever seen or heard of Wreck?
I have not.
You may know it as there was an American remake that was done with Julia Carpenter. The name escapes me right now. But pretty much what it's about, it originally was a film made, I believe, it's a Spanish film. And it was about a outbreak that happens inside of a apartment building. And people in there are just trapped. They're trapped in the building. And something's going on that's making some of the tenants of the building go feral. Like screaming, biting, like almost like rage zombies from 28 Days Later. Yeah. But it's not a virus. It's actual widespread possession.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And
I have to see this.
It's so cool.
I have to see
Don't watch the remake. Watch the original Spanish version.
Oh yeah.
The whole movie is a roller coaster.
Fantastic.
So I can give away the final scene without ruining the movie because that's my top 10.
Okay.
So it comes down to them finding the progenitor of the possession. So this one person got possessed and it was so potent that it infected some of the weaker members of the building. So a newscaster, and it's all shot in point of view. A newscaster, some firefighters, and the rest of the tenants have to fight these possessed people. And the last person is in the attic of the apartment. The camera's broken other than like the internal light to light the face. So it's pitch black and you hear scratching on the walls and shuddering in the background. And the last person, the final girl, is stuck in the attic. And you get a quick shot of whatever it is. It's this emaciated, like almost female body, but it's so shrunken, sunken in that it's almost inverse. Ghoul. It looks like a witch from Left 4 Dead. And it's just scurrying around. And she's playing cat and mouse with this thing in complete darkness.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
It's the best movie. It's one of my favorite movies. The last
terrifying.
scene is homegirl all you see is the camera drop. You see it, and it's right in front of her face. And you see her kind of clawing, and you see her jolt a little bit, and she gets sucked into the darkness.
And what year? What decade are we talking?
This was like this? 2000s.
Oh yeah, you did say it was a newer one.
Fairly newer movie.
All right, I'll have to check
Made
that out.
the list.
You
dude.
should absolutely put it on your list of things to watch.
Wreck.
If
I remember the name of the remake, you don't need to remember the remake. It wasn't that great. Watch the original, ladies and gentlemen. That thing is amazing. Cool. So, what would you see would be your number 9?
Hard cut number 9.
Hard cut number 9.
Family fun movie, Resident Evil 1996. I know. You're laughing.
I'm not laughing out of teasing or anything. I love the original Resident Evil movie.
Look, when the team walks into the laser room and you're watching that for the very first time.
That's a good one.
And the laser comes out, man. And that dude, I cannot remember his name.
Yeah.
He gets sliced into about 120 zillion pieces in front of your face. And I was sitting in the theater and I remember sitting there and that happened and I was like, whoa.
It's such a good lead up because it slices a couple of people before it gets to Homeboy. There's singular slices, up, down, horizontal, and it's this clean surgical laser beam that just eradicates or just melts through you.
Yes.
And you're with the guy, you're in your chair, like, he sees it coming for him. And he's like, well, how am I going to juke it?
Yes.
He was ready because he was juking it a couple times.
Yes.
So it's like a really good build-up.
I even forgot about that part.
Yeah, he juked it like twice.
Absolutely.
He did the cool like chin lift where he lifted his whole body
right.
horizontally to the ceiling.
He thought he passed it. He thought he won.
And that shit turned into a grid, and I was like, yo.
Dude.
And even he was like, fuck.
You just saw the look in the eye. The camera was dead on, and you were like, oh,
and the music breaks right when the lasers turn off. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
By far,
great death
might
scene.
be the best scene in Resident Evil for me. Like the entire like trilogy that has been made of like Resident Evil movies.
That first one is the best one. It's the only. 2 is okay just because it has Jill Valentine in it, but I'm biased because I love me some Jill Valentine.
Who doesn't love Jill Valentine?
But Resident Evil, the original, was the best of those movies. Sadly. Fantastic. Good one, man. I totally forgot about
Appreciate that. Number 9, my
Number 9, man. This scene, jeez Louise. This comes from a movie that was almost required reading when I was in college and art school, because I took a horror analysis class where we kind of broke down horror films and meanings and all that. In this series, the first 3, mind you, in this movie were groundbreaking. And my number 9 is Dawn of the Dead. The elevator scene. Choke on him. Choke on him. Choke on him. The whole movie is this weird allegory for just how brain dead people are in real life nowadays. You know what I mean? And the zombies infiltrate their comfortable mall that they've just been chilling in because there's nowhere else to go, and you have infinite food, you have infinite shelter. It's fine, right?
I mean, hello. Oh my goodness, I'm losing it right now. Walking Dead. Yes, you should have stopped season 3 at the prison when you had all the food and shelter.
Makes no sense for them ever to leave.
Why are you leaving? Anyway, back to your point.
Yeah, even if they're anyway, we're getting off Walking
Dead.
Way
off track. Anyway,
seriously pisses me off.
You're at the mall.
You're at the mall. The bad guys infiltrate the humans. Always the humans causing trouble, which causes the zombies to come in. Your ragtag group of people are running towards the elevator. Everything seems fine. Elevator opens to about 20 zombies stuck in one elevator. Just ran in. Guy gets caught. The actual zombies start to dig. They start biting him on his neck and arm, but the majority of them go for his torso and start ripping up his torso and ripping and pretty much disemboweling him in one clean shot. And that was real meat. That was pig intestine.
Yes, that was.
Tom Savini was not
Absolutely.
playing. It was stuff off the craft service table and like pig guts.
Absolutely.
And bull
You're talking
intestine.
76.
And they said
when it was real.
And they said when they were filming, it was like 110 degrees.
Absolutely.
And that stuff started to stink really bad, and the cast were getting sick. But the scene itself is so perfect. It's such a cool scene to me because the guy just starts talking crap, you know? Yeah, it's so good. That's my number 9.
Number 9. Let me ask you, and just, personal preference. Night of the Living Dead or Return?
That's not fair. It's like you're asking me to pick my children, man.
I mean, Return is pretty damn legendary.
I'll say this.
Classic.
One of those is on my list. You'll get your answer then.
Okay, excellent.
One of those are on my list. And
Hard cut number 8.
Hard cut number 8, man.
You had a movie that I had not heard of. I'm going to hopefully give you a movie you have not heard of. It is a little Stephen King horror classic called Storm of the Century.
Ooh,
back in
I've heard of that, never seen it.
1999.
Ooh, never seen it, know of it.
I come from a snowy place, and this movie is a 4-hour-long marathon of just a little small town in Massachusetts being locked in the snow, and Andre Lenoge comes for a visit. And his first appearance, as the movie opens, you have no idea what's going on. Guy walks up, knocks on the door. Woman answers. Guess what? He teleports like his little like stick, picks it up with the little dragon's head, and just clubs the shit out of this woman, and she's just dead. And again, you were 30 seconds into a movie,
Yeah, let's
and
go.
you were like,
Let's
"What
go.
is going on, man?"
Yeah, man.
Like,
Let's go.
and I want to say it was Born in Dust, Turn the Rust,
Yeah,
Born in Sin. Come on in.
that's crazy, dude.
Absolutely check out this movie,
gonna
especially
have to.
when it's cold. Get yourself some good comfort food and settle in. It is a quiet, dialogue-driven Stephen King freaking classic.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check this
Hard
out.
cut number
I've
8.
seen a lot of Stephen King stuff. In fact, A Death is on my honorable mention for one of those. I'm gonna have to check that out.
He actually will be making another appearance on my list as well.
Sounds about right, man. You can't go wrong with King, dude.
Your hard cut number 8, Mike G.
Hard cut number 8, man. And I made this list, and I figured like some of these may not count as horror, but the scene still disturbed the hell out of me nonetheless. This kind of sort of when I heard a certain actor receive a certain role in a certain movie, watching this film cemented my interest in seeing them play this role. I'm talking Christian Bale. I'm talking American Psycho.
Yeah, that was good, man.
I'm talking the chainsaw scene.
I mean, classic.
You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely classic. I mean,
The most neurotic, nutty thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was Christian Bale. Like, that's where he arrived. People went,
Yeah.
whoa, what? Who's this dude?
They were
man?
saying he's going to be Batman, and I saw this before I heard that news, and I was like, "Fine, you can do it. He can do Bruce Wayne. You can do Batman. He can do Insane.
He
can
had
do
himself
Stoic."
a good time in that movie.
American Psycho is such a lot of people when I say that don't even know what I'm talking about.
Disturbing.
It's such a disturbing movie because it's all an internal monologue to the nth degree.
And when we talk about breaking like reality, like,
Yeah.
I mean,
What's real? What isn't? Did that scene actually happen? And to name what the scene is that Jason Bateman, is that his name?
yeah,
Jason Bateman is discovered he has a taste for carnage and for murdering. And he murders his best friend Jared Leto, funny enough. Who plays the Joker later on. That's a funny little quinky dink. He axes him to death while listening to Whitney Houston, which is such a disturbing scene, all into itself. But the scene I'm talking about is that he's having
I forgot about Whitney.
so weird, dude. He's having some fun with a woman of the night, as I would say. I would say it as politely as possible.
A professional woman. Hey, man.
She's professional
She's
lady.
out there working.
Chatter.
If anyone, Brian, 608-432.
Find your boy, dude. He's in the northern quadrant of the nerdiverse.
Anyway, all right, good.
Oh,
Go
man.
on.
But she starts running down this. They're in like this beat up old like apartment building, and she's running downstairs. And Jason Bateman is running butt naked, blood all over him from killing the first girl, in like tennis shoes, socks, and a chainsaw. Right, he's just revving it and screaming, running down the hall. And she gets all the way to the bottom floor. And the part that gets me is where he stops and starts aiming the chainsaw over the balcony to get it just right.
Oh, yeah, man. You got to aim up.
Yeah, he aims it up.
You got to aim up.
And he just
That
lets it
was
fly.
So wicked the first time
And
you see
it flips all the way down, maybe like 3 or 4 stories, and hits her
Great.
dead at her back.
Great
And it's
scene.
such a juicy cut where it's just whack, and then he just screams, "Gotcha!" He just goes, "Ah!" So nuts, man. Like, I couldn't with that movie, man.
I was thinking about this in sections of categories of types of deaths, and Chainsaw did not make it, even though I want to say that there's a chainsaw scene that I've seen quite recently where someone got chainsawed in the back, someone threw a chainsaw, and it just flip, and I was just like, whoa, holy shit. That was amazing.
Another
Like,
god tier chainsaw scene is in Running Man, where that fucking guy falls and sits on a chainsaw. And he's just screaming. And you can hear it in his voice going, because it's just burning through his body.
If
dude.
that won't stay with you.
I don't know what will, man. That's a hashtag hard cut right there.
Hard cut.
Gnarly scenes in movies you didn't think you would find them, man. What's your hard cut? Your number 7.
Number 7, 1996, Drew Barrymore getting gutted in Han. Scream.
Can I shake your hand?
Yeah.
Because my number 7 is 1997. Demi Moore. I'm sorry, not Demi Moore. Drew Barrymore getting gutted. Scream. That's my number 7.
Number 7?
That's my number 7.
Number 7.
Let's talk about it together. Hey,
that's like a trifecta. Like,
what year did that come out? 1991?
96.
96. I said 97.
96.
1996. That opening scene of Scream.
Again.
Godlike. Like, you can't get any better than that.
No one saw any of that coming when that phone rang.
Oh,
no one saw any of that coming.
It was like seeing Psycho for the first time.
Right. And it's something you wish you could watch
again for the first time.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
Absolutely.
The subtleness, the slow burn, the conversational
dialogue
back and forth. What's your name?
See what you're wearing.
He's like, so I can know who I'm looking at. It's like, what? He's like, what? It's so good.
Oh, man.
What's your favorite scary movie, right? Before it was satirized, before a scary movie came out and made it a joke, the Ghostface was the Ghostface costume was actually frightening.
Everywhere. When this movie came out,
was everywhere.
Like I guess it probably would have been the fall of 96 or 97. Everybody was Ghostface.
For Halloween.
Seriously.
It's one of the it is the latest and most iconic horror look of this generation.
That's amazing. Out of all the movies and all the scenes in the world.
Number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Scream. Drew Barrymore.
Did
you know there's an extended cut of that where they hold on her shot where she's gutted?
Oh my goodness.
It holds for like another 45 seconds.
No, I don't.
And that 45 seconds is all the time in the world because it starts pouring out, and the mom is screaming in the background.
Oh my goodness!
Because in the cinematic cut, it's like a second. You see boom, boom, boom. And you see it, but you're not holding it. In the uncut version, it holds. It's a slow crawl for like 45 seconds. You see the guts spilling out slowly, dangling. Mom is just screaming in the back of your head.
Yes. Oh my
one of the best opening scenes in a horror movie.
Ever. Horror movie.
I was not ready.
I mean, nice work, Mike G.
That was excellent, dude.
If you like what you're hearing today, head over to the Patreon.
Give us a couple of ducats, make us sound better, so we can give you better content.
I mean,
that's at mastersofthenerdiversecast.com.
God bless. Number 7. Wow. Hard cut number
6. Then I guess
hard cut number 6.
What's your number 6, man?
Alex Winter, 1987. No, don't eat it. When he gets stuck by the Frog Brothers in the Lost Boys, and blood just starts going everywhere, and his shit's
We're talking about Lost Boys, man.
Fantastic scene.
Thou shalt not scream.
We had built up to something of that nature.
Little
the
sister.
Vampires pissed him off. It started the third act.
Yeah.
I mean, that stays with me. I love it. It's so fun. It is.
That movie makes a hard turn, dude. Because it's kind of like funny. It's kind of tense in certain parts, but then it just becomes a siege movie.
It's
Death by Stereo, man.
Dude, Death by Stereo.
It's the best line of any movie ever.
Kiefer Sutherland. Like Jason Patrick.
As Michael. The Coreys, dude. The Coreys were excellent in that movie.
If you've not seen The Lost Boys, if this is not on your radar because you're of a
Please
younger
watch The
generation,
Lost Boys.
Go back.
It holds up so well.
You like look at it, you're like, is this going to be kind of comedic and funny and maggots and Chinese food? But man,
it takes a hard left.
You're like, I am. And
these vampires
of vampires
these vampires are generally frightening. From the way they're shot with that Sam Raimi-esque camera of them flying down on people. So good. The music. Everything's iconic about that movie.
People are strange when you're another great opening to a horror movie.
Great opening because it's just showing like California.
You're like,
when you're strange, you start seeing weirdos and like graffiti art and buildings and
then vampires.
And then worst thing about where is it? Santa Barbara? Where is it? Where is that city called?
I thought it was
Santa,
Vito or something?
No, it was like Santa. Oh,
I don't have that.
Hard nerds are gonna punch me in the throat.
Go ahead and put that in the comments, ladies.
Put that in the comments. Let us
Hard
know.
cut number 6, Mike G.
Ooh, hard cut number 6, man. This is one that bothered me for a while because it was so cleverly shot that I had to watch it 3 or 4 times when it first happened because it's kept getting me. Like, I would watch it immediately after and I would still get a jump. I was like, how is this happening? It's like, it's so well done. This is John Carpenter's The Thing, the blood test scene.
You're going to have to remind me of that.
John Carpenter's The Thing, one of the best horror films of all time. You know the concept of the.
I am
thing, right?
familiar. Correct.
You're in an Arctic base, bunch of dudes, just hanging out. A husky just starts running out of the whiteness of the snow with 2 helicopters chasing it. Why are these helicopters chasing this husky? People screaming, "Don't let that dog into your house, dude!" Turns out it's an ancient alien that can replicate itself to look like anyone. Memories, body language. But if you trigger its defense mechanism, it becomes pure horror and teeth and guts and tentacles and viscera. And this scene is all the suspense and tension because nobody knows who the thing is until it's too late. Until you're either assimilated or it retaliates. You don't know. So everybody's like, is he the thing? Am I the thing? We don't know.
I may be the thing.
Shoot, Brian. This is why this is why I leave before nighttime, dog. You may try to get Mike G, dog.
Right.
But they figured out a way to figure out who's the thing and who isn't. And it's a blood test where they take a thing in your blood and they figured out that this creature is on a cellular level. And if you attack even a cell of its whole, it'll just freak out. So all the remaining guys are in a chair, tied up, and they're systematically checking every single person with a level of the rhythmic precision that drives you crazy. And the guy who you think is not the thing turns out to be the thing. And it's this crazy reaction shot where Kurt Russell has the petri dish of blood. And he's like, I know you were back there, Charles. That's why I'm going to check you last. And he does the little test in it and it goes, Wee! And the blood turns into a monster. And the guy just starts shaking and he starts like, his face rips apart and tentacles are flying out of his throat. And he starts freaking out and all the guys in the chair are like, get me the fuck out of here. Dude.
John Carpenter, classic,
John Carpenter.
Right?
The thing levitates and just grabs onto the ceiling, eats a guy and just, it's amazing.
And you know you're dealing with something more powerful than you.
At that point, it's like, we should just all die.
Like, it's not going to be, it's going to be a rough day.
We're all going to die.
It's going to be a rough day.
None of us are taking this out, man.
That's funny.
That's when you just accept fate when you see some crap like that. Like, my pew-pew gun is not going to do it, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate me some John Carpenter. And when you mentioned Alien, no aliens made my list here today.
No aliens made? You know why? Because aliens...
Frankly, aliens are terrifying.
You know, because Alien is a fairly bloodless movie.
Actually, Alien did make my list. Sorry. Moving on.
Good spoilers, everybody.
Spoiler alert.
In that case, are we on your number 5?
We are on number 5.
Yeah, man.
Also, another historic scene, 2006's Final Destination 3.
Which one? Which part was that?
That is when the 2 chicks go into the tanning bed.
Oh, yeah, and their bodies melt?
Dude, and they're like in the tanning bed, and then the thing locks because it drops off, and then the water hits the tanning bed, and then the tanning bed starts like
cooking them.
Literally cooking them. I come from a place where, let's just call a spade, where a lot of people tan.
Yeah.
I am not one of those said people that actually tan.
Yeah.
The thought of being fried to death in a tanning bed.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it actually does not happen more in reality, because it seems like
it probably does.
When you get in an oven, but I digress. But when you get in an oven, that's what's going to happen. That scene has always stuck with me. I'm a big fan of the Final Destination franchise, as corny as they may be.
Yeah.
Some fantastic deaths in there overall, but generally speaking, that death of the 2 chicks frying to death in the tanning bed screaming. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Hard cut number 5.
Hard cut number 5, man. This is a movie that you've mentioned earlier, funny enough. I just haven't really said anything about it. And funny enough, if it wasn't your scene, I had to choose between your scene and my scene. And my scene stuck with me a little bit more. Not that to take anything away from that pool of blood, because that mess is insane. But the scene that jacked me up was the opening Tina death in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, classic.
Where she's in the lair of Freddy, which is the weird industrial pipes, and it looks orangey brown and
basement of a school.
Basement
I always felt like, you know what I mean?
You get that John England acting, and the part that gets me is her boyfriend runs in, and he's in the corner of the screen. The sheets fly off of her. She gets the scratch on her chest that opens her up in. You feel like it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. No, maybe like 2 o'clock in the morning. She gets up and she levitates and flips, and this is before CG. But the boyfriend's in the shot, so how did they do that? And my little Mikey brain, who couldn't understand like how this, because that's how I deal with horror. I see it on a technical level. How did they do that shot? What's that? What makeup are they using? That's how I deal with it, so I'm not so scared. And what scared me the most is that I couldn't figure it out. And even to this day, as much trivia I know about Nightmare on Elm Street, I still don't know how they did that shot. Some kind of rotating wire or something. I don't know. But it's still one of my favorite death scenes of all time because it's so intimate. You know what I mean? You're in your bed, the safest place on earth.
Entire movie is
you're just dreaming.
That's one of the reasons
it's
why it's terrifying.
Because it's like it gets you at the most.
Straight up through Dream Warriors, you're talking about Freddy was on point as one of the most terrifying.
He was so scary they had to make fun of him. They had to make him a joke because he was so terrifying. The Ghostface situation.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I've been waiting on this. I got a story about you guys all know that had me scared as hell. He come to me at night after I call in the bed. No. He's burnt up like a weenie and his name is Fred. He wears the same hat and sweater every single day. But even if it's hot outside, he wears it anyway. He's home when I'm awake and he shows up when I'm asleep. I can't believe it. There's a nightmare on my street. Anyway, I've been waiting on a time to do that.
That's the pinnacle of Halloween, though.
There you go.
We just did it.
Absolutely.
We just beat Halloween. Can we just stop recording now?
Yeah, I think we're done.
I think we're done?
We're done. I'm done with life now.
Jeez, man.
Well, call, please. I'll sweep floors or something. I don't know.
Whatever. We'll get it. Put us on Yo MTV Raps, dog. What's your number 4, my good man?
Hard cut number 4. Georgie, It. Opening scene,
Which
Stephen
one?
King, when he gets pulled into the grave.
Now, the remake?
The original.
Yeah.
1990. I still have yet to see the original, but he followed the paper boat down, and you're going, oh boy, following the paper boat in the rain. This is sweet. Hello.
Yep.
You're like, what is this? And it's a clown, and I am not scared of clowns. But when Georgie sticks his arm in there and those teeth pull back on Pennywise,
that always got me, dude.
Ooh, man,
I was terrified of Pennywise. You know why? Because he had those scenes where his teeth became just monster teeth.
Yeah.
It was unexpected.
That's what completely
just
unexpected.
Terrify me.
And all these happened at the beginning of the movie for me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. But
that's the trick to a good horror movie. You hit them hard in the beginning.
You hit me hard.
Hit them hard at the end. Good stuff, man.
Hard cut number 4, Mike G.
Number 4.
The singing of Will Smith wore me out.
That's right. Hey, it would have worn me out too, bro. This is going to be chill cast from here on out. Just to say, this movie is probably the most influential horror movie ever for me.
Oh.
But the scene it's great, but it's not number 1, but it's definitely above top 5. And that's Hellraiser. Clive Barker, Jesus Wept.
Jesus Wept. Yeah, Jesus
Wept is the part that made me obsessed with Hellraiser because I've never seen anything like it in my entire damn life.
So good, and they have a hard time reproducing anything close to.
They allude to it at the very beginning of the movie, because the very beginning of the movie, you're in the Leviathan, or you're in the Cenobite realm, and they show you him putting pieces of a face together, You're like, what is that supposed to be, man?
Flip is this?
And you don't get nothing about it until this scene where Frank is, been eluding the Cenobites because he escaped hell or whatever dimension they're from. They don't necessarily say they're demons.
Man, I want one of those boxes so bad.
Yeah, go for it, man. Pain or pleasure, indivisible, man. Whatever you need. I have such sights to show you.
Terrible.
There you go. You explore space as a pain priest. But and of course, the signature weapon for the Cenobites and for Pinhead is the chains, the death chains, as we used to call them. That just rip into your skin.
Small rips, very small,
very
chains,
little cuts,
very little cuts, a lot of chains.
But Frank really pissed them off because he escaped.
It is like the worst S&M ever.
Yeah, man.
Right.
It hurts so good.
Yeah, no, like a worst S&M experience.
What messed me up as a kid is that he was smiling. He was loving it,
dude. Hellraiser's twisted,
and what's crazy is hooks latch onto his face, like 7 hooks, right, all into his bone, his flesh, and the music just shuts off. It's a quiet moment, and all you hear is the chains, and Frank goes, "Jesus wept," and he starts smiling, and you just hear an explosion of pool because the Cenobites explode his brain and rip his face apart. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
And his flesh flies everywhere. So it makes me think that the beginning of the movie was after the end of the movie. It was the Cenobites gathering his face at the very end of the movie.
There you go.
Once Kirsty escaped the Leviathan and everything was set back to normal, the Cenobites were cleaning up their house and putting his face back together as a post. Was it a prelude or it's called a prelude?
Prelude.
A prelude of the film.
Yeah.
That's so smart. I just thought about that right now. I've loved Hellraiser since I was a kid. This podcast has such sights to show you. I've molded it into my life and I've just learned something new about it just by thinking about it more.
Hellraiser is the gift that keeps on giving. That's kind of the point, I think.
Infinite pleasures.
Freaking terrifying.
We're about to hit number 3, my good man.
Number 3. These hard cuts actually become a tad bit easier because these last 3 literally have stuck with me my entire life.
Yep.
And my number 3 is Linda Blair, Jason Miller, Dr. Damien Caress, 1973. The Exorcist.
Almost made my list.
The Exorcist. It's towards the end of the movie. It is the end of the movie. And
it's the absolute end of the movie.
And I'm not going to say that it is the most terrifying scene ever because it absolutely is not. But after what you've been through, watching this masterpiece of just horror. Oh my God. Like, I never want this to happen to me. I never want this to be a problem for me.
It makes you afraid that that shit was going to happen.
Linda Blair, Possessed, by Pazuzu. There you go. And
its true name.
Towards the end, you have no idea how Jason Miller's going to get out Damien, the priest, and the priest is holding him, go away.
Get
and,
out.
After a bunch of, the Christ compels you, a bunch of just drama. Pazuzu takes over the priest. And the priest heroically turns around and somehow throws himself down these old 1970s stairs.
Strawberry Fields forever, man.
I mean, once these things froze over, you were probably close to breaking your neck anyway.
You know what? You mentioned it, and that's why it was off my list. Is because the death itself is not that monumental, but it's what you've gone through through the whole movie that builds up to that moment. You're just exhausted.
You're exhausted, but for me, and I've watched that movie literally well over 100 times. Yeah. For me, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This demon is wrecking shop.
Whatever you want.
And it's like...
unless it wants to leave, it's not going anywhere.
Right. And so for that to be the ending for me, I'm like, that's a solution I didn't see coming.
Nope.
Good on you,
Good
bro.
on you, bro.
Good on
You
you.
won.
Yeah.
In death, you won.
You won. So that is my number 3. And like I said, they become easier for me.
Guys, I'm going to do something that is against the rules. And MOTN. I'm going to have to probably pay some kind of weird penance. But I'm doing a live swap of my number 3.
What?
Live swap.
Live swap?
I'm pulling an honorable mention.
Live swap.
A live swap.
What the hell is a live swap?
A live swap is where you're looking at your list and you look at a number 3. And for the same reason I just said, I'm going to leave it in my honorable mention. So you get to hear my true number 3 later. But my number 3 for now is Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, The Cat Attack.
Tales from the Dark Side, 1990 or so. It's been a while, man.
Just like your Storm of the Century.
Okay.
Three stories.
Yes.
I think by 3 different directors. This one is called, frankly, The Cat from Hell. And the story goes that there's an old, rich Mr. Burns looking dude who hires an assassin to kill a cat. A high-ranking super assassin to kill a cat. Apparently, I'm going to give you the short and skinny of this, is that the guy is a pharmaceutical juggernaut. And he's been testing a drug called Dormal G or something like that. And in the process of making it, he had to euthanize 10,000 cats in testing to get it right. And that Satan himself has brought his general, the cat, to exact revenge for all his little cat buddies. And this cat has worked its way through his entire family to get back at this old man. And so as everyone else is dead, all of his sisters have been killed by the cat in one way. They tripped over the cat while going down the stairs, broke their neck. Cat slept on top of their face, suffocated. Cat got out of his trap, got out of his little container while the guy was driving, scratched him up while he was driving, guy crashed his car, died. The cat keeps coming back to the house. So the man hires an assassin. I will pay you $50,000 to kill this cat before I get home tonight. And I want its tail so I could throw it in the fire and watch it burn, is what he says.
Yes.
And the assassin's like, you're bullshitting me. This is stupid. You're wasting my time. I'm an international assassin of mystery. Cat jumps in his lap. Boom. And you see the old man back up. He's like, shit. And the guy's like, I can do it here now if you want. All I have to do is grab his little neck and crack it. And he grabs the cat's neck. The cat does a berserker barrage, spins in the guy's lap, scratches up his whole arm and runs off. He's like, you little piece of shit. He's like, it begins. I'm going out of town. I'm going into town for the night. Have the house to yourself. Cat needs to be dead by morning. To give you just a little backdrop on what this episode's about. And this guy fights the cat all night, uses all his weapons, sniper scopes. He aims at the cat. Somehow he misses. He's like, I don't miss. Cat keeps eluding him. The final act of the movie, the cat gets a drop on him, does a Wolverine, like tornado claw in his face, hits him right in his chest. The guy's starting to freak out. He's screaming with his mouth open. The cat's meowing at him. Cat jumps in his mouth, crawls down his throat, and falls asleep in its stomach. Splits his lips open, gives him a Cheshire grin, and falls asleep in his gut for the night. Old man comes home. It's morning. Guy's laid out in the foyer of the mansion, gut bloated, right? Old man is like, what happened? Oh, geez, it got to you too. Cat wakes up, climbs out of the guy's throat, jumps on the old man's lap, gives him a heart attack. He dies. The last scene of the movie is the cat cleaning himself with the blood of the man who he just crawled out of.
Man, you see, this is why I have a cat.
Best scene, one of the best horror deaths of all time.
That is
Death by Kitty.
I mean,
by
if you were to
Meow
write
Meow.
that down, someone's just going to be like, "What? What is this?"
What Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, dude? And it's not even the best. That's not even the best tale of that movie. One of the best anthologies of all time.
I actually remember that car scene when you said that. I don't remember the rest of any of that, but I do remember seeing that car scene.
That's a Mortal Kombat fatality.
I mean,
it's nuts.
It's a cat.
The cat jumped down the dude's throat, fell asleep in his intestines, woke up, crawled back out. Guy's face is just mannequined and puppeted. It's the grossest thing in the world. It gave me nightmares. Didn't want a cat for years.
What year is this movie?
This was like 1992, 1985 or something like that.
All right.
Second best anthology movie to Creepshow. That's my number 3.
Write that one down, ladies and gentlemen.
Check
that out.
What did I call that? That was a...
that was a live swap.
Live swap, ladies.
Live swap.
These aren't going to happen often, but it would be a disservice not to have this on that list. Have that on this list.
Live swap.
Man, what's your number 2, man?
Number 2. My number 2 is an alien. And when the alien pops out of, I don't know, dude. And that's Alien from 1979.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Coming in. Oh, God. Alien or any of that. It's like, Alien, I'm having dinner. Do-do-do-do. Oh, hey, you're feeling better. Everybody's feeling good.
It's clowning around, dude.
All of a sudden,
back.
dude starts like gyrating, vibrating,
tickle.
and like, it's not good. And when they lay this dude flat out and you're on a spaceship, which is cool in itself, but all of a sudden a live being exits someone's chest, you know what? It's a bad day.
Pro tip about that movie.
It's a bad day.
They didn't tell the staff that was going to happen.
Oh, that makes it even better.
When Homegirl freaks out and goes, oh, God. That was her real life reaction because they were like, really, what's going to happen? Like, they knew he was going to die, but they didn't know how. They kept it a secret.
That's amazing.
And everybody on set was just like, what? Because the problem is that it's not a clean bust.
No, that's the terrifying part about it.
That would be fine, but it's a slow. It works its way out. It chucks out.
It looks like it hurts so much.
You see a pop goes, poof, and it's a noise. It's not loud. It's just like it's a dull punch, and you see the mouth imprint on the shirt as the blood turns red, as the shirt turns red, and you just see everybody go. And the whole rest of the movie, you're just wrecked. What is this thing? And it just keeps changing. You never get a good shot of the damn thing.
Alien. I can watch Alien all the time.
Top 3 horror movies of all time.
If I turn on the news one day and an actual alien has like landed on this planet, I am going to bleep my pants, bro. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Unless that thing comes down looking like a Vulcan, I'm straight.
If you want to put... I would put an alien against Superman, bro. And I mean, he has the X-ray vision, but it's a fucking alien.
I don't like...
And that's just one.
I don't like xenomorphs because they're damn near impossible to get rid of.
Acid blood? What are you doing with that?
Acid blood.
What are you doing with that?
What are you going to do with that? Hive mentality can replicate with damn near anything.
Hard to kill.
I'm straight. Can you imagine if a xenomorph somehow impregnated a rhino or a gorilla, fucking shark? Somehow, what
would it beat the Meg?
Nothing beats the Meg, dog.
Nothing beats
Godzilla can't beat the Meg, dog.
Hard cut number 2, Mike G. Hard cut number 2.
I would call myself something of a horror film aficionado, right? I love horror, loved it since I was a kid. But this movie still gives me damn nightmares to this day. Still makes me think twice when I shave. When I take a shower, when I get out the tub, and it's the most startling opening I've ever seen in a film, other than my number 1, and that's Candyman. The opening Candyman scene. It's a jump scare, mind you, but it's a well built up jump scare, similar to The Ring, or which is not on this list, or Scream. You know, if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he'll breathe on the back of your neck. Right? Oh, that's nonsense. God. Why do that? Lights are on in the bathroom. Candyman. And it's just the slow burn of that.
Yeah, I'm like, please don't say that 5 times. We don't need that
the
here.
Second she says Candyman, the 5th time, you're expecting it to be a jump scare. Candyman. Nothing happened. Scare. That's what we're expecting. But no. The second she says Candyman, the lights go out. Candyman's right behind her and guts her right there.
Yeah.
From groin to gullet, as he would say. And that shocked wrecked my young brain and has caused irreparable cerebral damage to Mike G.
And to be honest, that's one that could be missed again. So if you've not seen Candyman.
Candyman is a beautiful...
It will mess you up.
It's scary. It's beautiful. It's the architecture, the direction, the story. Candyman's one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's one of my favorite series. It's one of the better series of all time.
We are getting a remake, too.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to go back to that 1992-ish.
It is the best urban horror film.
Oh, for sure.
In the hood.
For sure. I mean...
With that fear.
I have horror films, but like Brooklyn and Vampire was about the only one I could think of.
You think about like black folks. You think about like urban legend. You think about like urban life. It's the worst urban legend on film. Candyman. You say it 5 times. There's nothing much you can do about it.
No.
He's coming.
He's coming.
He's coming for you because you're an idiot. And
right.
You know better than to do that.
Just like he said with the Ring. They like don't turn freaking tape on.
Just don't turn the tape on, man.
They just don't turn the tape on.
People tell you when people die when they watch it. Don't turn it on.
Correct. Don't say Candyman.
What your dumbass do? Turn it on. Don't say Candyman. Now he's here and your freaking groin is gone.
Done.
He took it home with him. It's his now.
Great scene.
Great scene. Still think about it to this day. We're at number 1s, man.
We are at the number 1, and my number 1 is also my number 1. Number 2, I don't know. It switches between the hour. Number 1 or 2 favorite horror movie of all time. And the scene is David getting eaten by a werewolf in 1981's American Werewolf in London.
I'm so happy you said this movie.
It is such a vicious
one of us brought it up.
Visceral scene. This werewolf is tearing the living shit out of this dude, man. And
John Landis, man.
There's just nothing he can do about it.
He had it in him.
Dude.
Like the most terrifying.
And I'm afraid of dogs to begin with.
Straight up.
So the last thing you want is to have a large werewolf just literally biting at you, and you're done.
Nothing you can do.
There is nothing.
It's already
it's like
inside
having
you.
A freaking dinosaur like on top of you. You're
what are you gonna do?
Dude.
There's no gun.
No.
There's no weapon.
Nope.
You're just screwed.
Nope. You better hope you have one silver, like plated, like body.
You better
armor.
hope you die. If you live, you become the werewolf of
David
London.
did not die, unfortunately.
Oh, because his stupid homeboy kept him as the undead.
You know what I mean?
That's a rough life.
Werewolf
is a rough deal, no matter how you do it.
It's a rough go, man.
Because he would have died if his homeboy died too. They both would have just went to heaven,
and that's it.
But if his homeboy lived,
trapped in limbo, bro,
until your homeboy dies, and werewolves can live forever.
Trapped in limbo. Love that movie.
It's a raw deal, man.
Love that scene. Go back and watch it.
Griffin Dunn as he slowly starts to deteriorate.
Right. And to give you another one, another scene in that movie that is also visceral is when he's turning into a werewolf for the first time. They've never reproduced that werewolf scene.
It's
ever.
2018.
Yeah.
This was made in what, like 1970?
That was 1981.
There has never, with all the CG and all the industrial lights and magic, has there ever been a transformation scene?
No.
About anything?
No.
Werewolf, vampire, The Fly, nothing beats this transformation scene in American Werewolf in London. It's visceral. You can feel every second of it. Ugh, it's so painful.
Yeah,
Rick Baker, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best makeup artists of all time. He's one of the top 10 people that I look up to. Rick Baker, dude.
There you go.
Horror god, dog.
There you go. American Werewolf in London. Yeah, please, if this is not on your radar,
watch this damn
please
movie.
watch this evening.
Watch
you are
this
not going to
movie.
be disappointed. Get
Do
some
us- do me a
popcorn,
favor.
some friends, a blanket, the
It's
whole
fun.
bowl of wax.
It's fun.
You're just going to be like, ooh. I
And
do
like
not
most
wanna
of the
be a
movies on
werewolf.
this list, it holds up.
It holds up. For sure holds up. Number 1, Mike G. What is your number 1 hard cut or easy cut?
Easy cut, man. This is the movie that got me into horror as a kid.
Ooh.
When I was a kid, I was deathly afraid of horror films. As a little kid, mind you.
Little Mike G.
Little Mike G short pants couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Too scary. My mom wouldn't have it as having a son that can't watch horror movies because she loved horror movies. So she said, okay, how can I get him into horror movies? So she bought me Michael Jackson's Thriller to show me that it's fake and to show me how they did it. And Rick Baker was showed how he made the zombies and the makeup and, Vincent Price. You know.
Ha 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 ha.
No mere mortal can resist the evening of the Thriller.
I mean,
And
but
this
newborns know what that is.
Jeez.
they literally just came out of the womb 2 seconds ago, and they're like, Thriller?
Thriller?
Oh, yeah.
We jammed to that last Halloween.
Yeah, that was good.
It's a classic. So this movie brought about all that.
Yeah.
Because my mom wouldn't have it.
Moonwalker?
No. Moonwalker was epic, though. When Michael Jackson turned into that giant weird robot.
Hey, it was
Joe
weird.
Pesci.
Hey, it's
Joey Ladeo. Nobody knows about
so
Joey
weird,
Ladeo.
man.
Yeah,
So
tarantulas, bruh. But my movie is Jaws.
Jaws.
Opening scene.
Oh, man.
You talked about dogs, like your fear of dogs, right? Some shit that could really happen.
Like some shit that can really happen.
Your dog could run up on you, and you're in a fight.
Set the
depending on the
scene,
size of the
ladies and
dog.
gentlemen, for you real quick. We're like 3 miles from the Pacific Ocean.
We live next to the Pacific Ocean,
All right?
and I'm sure either of us have been in the ocean before many times.
I have no desire to
And
deal with Jaws.
This damn movie was beyond terrifying. Not because of what you saw, but what you didn't see. To set the scene, this is the beginning of Jaws. This is how you're introduced to this damn movie. They're at Venice Beach or something.
Yeah,
everybody's
hanging out,
getting drunk,
smoking
getting
weed.
high,
Yeah,
having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of those feel good
Everybody's
things.
feeling good.
Yeah,
the
good
70s,
stuff.
right? Homegirl whispers in her man's ear, we want to party over here, though. He's like, I guess I'm going over here, though.
Time to go.
Time to go.
Nice.
Man. They're running towards the shore. She's going to skinny dip, so she's just ripping her clothes off, right?
Right.
Which was racy for that film because it was like PG-13.
I mean, that was early.
Yeah,
That
they
was
didn't show
super
anything,
early.
mind you,
Right,
but it was
no.
really implied.
Yes.
He's like, are you going? What? Right? She gets into the water and it's quiet still. You just see her body jolt. Oh, that little quick bob. Oh. And she just starts crying and screaming and her body's being torn from left to right. You don't know how they're filming it because it's in a body of water. They can't have electronics down there. How are they doing it? She's trying to race towards the little dummy and the bell in the water and all that. And you're just feeling for her because you're like, what's happening? Is this shark biting her ribs? Is it biting her leg off? What's going on? She's screaming for God to help her. And the last thing you see is her just dip hard as hell into the water and bubbles.
God is not here today.
Oh my goodness, that scared me.
Yeah, man.
Oh
and
my
that movie did not
goodness.
get any less frightening.
I've always been like a high thinker. Like I'm constantly overthinking.
Yes.
And that wrecked me for there in Universal Studios Hollywood, there was a giant Jaws that was hung up back in the day. I would not go near that thing as a kid. I would just start screaming and crying until it went away, until my dad carried me off. When my dad didn't want me to bother him, he would put a toy shark on the chair where he was sitting. And whenever I would come over and be a little baby and come bother him, he would squeeze the shark toy. It would squeak out, freak out, and run away. My mom was like, I'm not having this. My child won't be this kid.
Well, yeah, no.
And she birthed the horror nerd that's shown before you because of Jaws.
Because of Jaws. Look at that.
And ever since, I don't care who you are, after you've seen this movie, you step into the ocean, it tickles your brain a little bit.
Look,
you step into a pool.
All the marine biologists out there, like, I get it. But if you're telling me you were not scared shitless every time you see a great white shark, what the F
What's
is wrong
more
with you?
primordial than a big shark that's going to eat you? What's more real?
Like a dinosaur, bro. Again,
what I'm saying,
for
like
the second time. And you know what? I
Even
want no part of that.
It's like, I'm not afraid of a velociraptor just hopping through this window and getting me. That's probably not going to happen.
No,
but if I go to the beach with like my little cousin.
Yeah, right now.
We go to the beach right now, it could happen.
Right now.
Right now.
Get in a boat,
you
go
could
out.
be in Jaws right now.
I mean, there was just a shark attack down the street.
It's crazy,
Not too long
man.
ago, like a week
How
ago.
many shots of there are just dudes fishing and they just show a great white on the side of their boat just without breaking the seal of water. You just see this like 5-ton killing machine. Terrifying, dude. I was in the toilet sitting down on the bathroom like shark. Like it could just happen. This bad boy gonna crawl under the stall and get me.
That is absolutely fantastic.
I was like 13 years old at my friend's pool.
That's
Shark.
fantastic.
Can't do it.
Hard cuts, ladies and gentlemen,
Hard
or easy
cuts,
ones.
ladies and gentlemen.
Be aware of the great white shark if you go in the ocean today.
It's rough because it's real, guys.
Absolutely.
You want to do a couple of
Honorable mentions
before we close this bad boy?
I
out?
have 2 honorable mentions, and actually I have 3 honorable mentions, but they're not exactly scenes.
That's
Vamp.
fine.
No one talks about freaking Vamp.
I love
man.
Vamp, dude.
Vamp is amazing.
Is that with David Bowie?
It's like 1979, 80-ish, somewhere up in there.
Vamp's
Check
what's
out
up, dude.
Vamp. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, man.
Number 2, one of my favorite horror movie scenes is very first Poltergeist when the woman gets thrown up to the ceiling and is being thrown around the ceiling, and she is screaming. I get my baby. Check out Poltergeist.
Poltergeist is a classic.
1979, 80, fantastic. And my third scene is a tad bit more of an erotic scene, which we did not hit today, but I would be remiss if I did not mention Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Interview with a Vampire. When they are sucking the life out of that chick from the 1820s on the bench, you're like, I kind of want to be a vampire.
My lips are sweet as steel.
Like, dude.
And they're just, you could hear like them sucking on the straw. Gong, gong, gong. They leave her money.
Yeah. It just sticks with me.
Nasty.
I'd much rather be a vampire than a werewolf because
at least you can control that.
Like if the whole werewolf thing that looks painful.
Nah,
So,
man.
honorable mentions.
All right, I
Yours might
alluded to
be-
this honorable mention that got swapped out.
So number 3.
The number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3. The true number 3, the Shin number 3 with the purple gi and the gold hair. Is Night of the Living Dead. The final scene where homeboy gets shot in the head. Put another one on the fire.
Yeah.
That was my number 3 because it was so messed up and so like that's not right. It made me mad. Like that's because I got on Night of the Living Dead when I was older. When I was like in college. You know what I mean? I was like, that's not right. He survived. He deserves to be at the end of the movie, but that's the whole point, right? And I was thinking about it, and it makes me think about what you said about The Exorcist. It's not the scene itself. It's what we did to get up to that scene.
Yeah, man.
And it's rough.
Yeah.
The zombies siege the building. I'm not going to go into it. But that was my original number 3. Another honorable mention is the movie you mentioned earlier, but not on either of our lists. Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warrior.
Dream Warrior, Part 4. Is it 3 or 4?
I think it's 3.
3, okay.
Where the kid's veins get pulled out of his wrist to become the puppets.
Yeah.
That scene gave me nightmares.
Man,
because there's
crazy.
right before it happens, Freddy turns into a doll. And he just starts running around the room, and the kid's wrist split open in his vein, and he starts walking with his wrist out. And everybody's like, "What are you doing?" Because people see him, and he's at the window, and you can see Freddy in the clouds, like doing a little this, and he cuts the line, and the kid falls to his death. Gave me nightmares.
It's a terrifying scene, great scene, and one of those that has not been reproduced since. It's one of its kind.
Yeah, man. And my last honorable mention was The Omen.
Yep, almost made mine. Almost made the list. Man.
The glass decapitation scene, where the guys like the glass. It was like it was glass like on a truck or something, and it breaks, and the glass slides. And it cuts the dude's head off so perfectly that it spins. It's so nutty, dude. It's a
Absolutely.
It's a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Check out The Omen. I mean,
if you ever seen The
we
Omen,
can do that all day. But
yeah,
little movies about little demon babies are generally speaking
generally rough.
They're rough, man.
And this
They're
is the
rough.
original we're talking, not the remake.
What's the Macaulay Culkin one? Even the
Good
Son. Terrifying. Terrifying freaking movie.
Even like Orphan.
Rough
movie, dude.
And I watch all of them. If there's a possession or what is your favorite? Since we're talking, what's your favorite type of horror? Is it slasher? Is it
that is so hard?
Is it jump scare? Is it?
It's got to be psychological horror.
Psychological horror.
I want the horror that's going to mess with me after like a couple of days, like Session 9.
Oh, Session 9, fantastic
messes
flick.
With me.
Fantastic flick. On Session 9, Altered States almost made my list. Also fantastic.
The Grudge.
The Grudge.
Jacked me up.
Japanese The Grudge? Yeah.
Ju-on, dog.
Ooh.
Just broke me. I had
so many.
You
can go on for a while.
But this is our list.
That's our list.
It would be a top 10 if we just listed them all, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Man.
No, it wasn't. So you have a watch list to go see. Thanks for having me on. Top
Absolutely.
10 hard cuts.
Top 10 horror death scenes of all time.
Have a spooky Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Always be
Absolutely.
safe. Remember
Always
not
be
to drink
safe.
and drive.
Don't drink and drive. Remember to check your candy, even though there's a 9 out of 10 chance anything is wrong with it.
Oh, yeah. Check
But
your
still
candy.
check your candy. Don't let your kids walk around by themselves. This is in 1985. You can't just do that anymore.
Please.
And like you said, don't drink and drive, especially if you're in a metropolitan area where there's a cop every corner.
This turned into a PSA, so
It is a
you want to
PSA.
close this out, Mike G?
If you like spooky content like this and would like to support our channel monetarily, as we mentioned earlier, please visit our Patreon. And you will be able to become a member at the solemn price of $1 a month or $5 a month if you're feeling frisky. And you can actually get more exclusive content and help out the channel so we can get bigger and better. And if you wanted to help us out in a non-monetary fashion, you can always leave a like, subscribe, please leave a comment. I've been, of course, your host, Mike G.
I'm Brian. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you for being on. I'm sure we'll talk with you again. And for this one, I'm going to say, always look towards the spooks. Look, don't be afraid of the spooks.